People seek asylum because of different things. They are not bad people. They are not here to steal anything or to change anything or to impose any beliefs on people. They are asylees because they are seeking help. They are seeking a safe place. My name is Aissatou Jallow. I am from Gambia, West Africa. For me, coming to the US was not planned. I had to overcome many challenges to get here. As a disabled woman, I faced many discrimination in the Gambia. Especially as a professional woman, I was not treated fairly. I always knew there was more I could achieve and do than was possible in the Gambia. I thought that I had all my life figured out, but I had to leave my country and seek asylum somewhere. It changed everything that I thought I would become, and it put me in another path, a very important path. So I see myself as an asylee. It's a very important part of who I am. I am a survivor of female genital mutilation. And as a person with disability, I suffered discrimination in my country. Even when I graduated college with a degree in law, I couldn't find a job, which was very unusual at that time. And for both these reasons, I was granted asylum in the US in 2014. I was born with a congenital malformation. My right leg was longer and deformed. So my grandmother took me. My grandmother has been very strong about my school, and she herself is not educated, but she values education, and she encouraged me all along the way. I remember when I was in nursery school, sometimes she will carry me on her back and take me to school. People with disability are mostly poor because they don't get the opportunities to go to school. I was the only child in a wheelchair in any of the schools that I attended in Gambia, from nursery to high school. I was told point blank that they cannot accommodate me. I'll have to transfer to another school. And there was no accommodation in any of the schools that I attended. When I received my law degree, I was not able to find employment because as soon as people saw my wheelchair, they turned me away. I was treated unfairly. In Gambia, there is nowhere that it says when you have a building or a public building, it has to be accessible. So when I go for job interviews, I used to climb stairs and pull my wheelchair with me. I'll hop on one leg. I've been to so many job interviews. I've had employer ask me, how will you be able to do this job with your condition? I studied law, everything comes from the head. I can sit down and write, what does my leg has to do with this? I kept trying to find employment because I never wanted to live outside of my country. I came to Seattle in May 2012 to seek asylum. And while I was in this whole asylum process, I received a lot of help from non-profits like Lutheran Community Services, Health Right International Harborview Medical Center, and Northwest Immigrants' Right. When I applied for asylum, it was over a year before I could get a work permit, which did not include housing, so I became homeless. That's how I moved to Jubilee Women's Shelter.
And then I know that you're working on your personal safety net.
My asylum approval came while I was living in Jubilee. That was over 2 years after I came to the U.S.
One more surgery will be enough. Did you get a sense when you talked to Dr. Keys about...
Before I moved to Jubilee, I had my leg amputated. It stops here.
When?
This is tight, so I can... And while I was in Jubilee, I had 3 surgeries. Having a medical condition, leaving all your family behind and living in a foreign country where you don't know many people, where you don't have money, it's scary. Like, it can really get to you. I just had to be very strong. Being strong is the only choice that I have. I was accepted into the University of Washington School of Law in 2015 for LLM, which is a Master's in Law degree on Sustainable International Development. At the end of the year, I was given a fellowship to do research on French laws and study French language. I always feel like I just have to go all the way. I need a PhD because whatever level that I finish, it always feels like I need to know more. There is more to learn. Right now, I am working with a clinic in the law school here right now that are helping me form a non-profit. The non-profit that I'm working on will help people with disabilities in Gambia to go to school. So I just want to ensure that kids with disabilities will have access to education in a safe environment. I've always wanted to do the best and be an example at a very young age. I've always been this little rebel, even though I don't talk much, but I feel like I can make a difference. Like, kids with disabilities can look up to me and say, I can do it.
Our next candidate is a very special person. Aissatou Diallo is originally from Gambia and is the recipient of the Husky 100 Award from the University of Washington this year for her work on behalf of women. Aissatou?
Just like me, there are many other asylum seekers here who are just working towards contributing to the American society. We bring writers, lawyers, doctors, engineers, and even people with their diplomas who will come here and do a much lower job just to achieve that American dream. Yeah, if they had it better, they would rather be a doctor in their countries than be a cleaner in the US. I believe we all have the same fears. We all love the same. And maybe to get to know the next immigrant you meet instead of fearing the unknown. So we are just like any other person.
When I come to United States, I was 16 years old. After 8 months being in the US, when I was living in the group house, they hired new lady. That woman being like really disrespectful. One of the days I went for a long run, and then when I come back, I was really tired and hungry. And usually they put the knives for the house in the office, so I went to ask for the knife. The same woman, she was sitting there. I was like, can I have the knife, please? I want to make breakfast. Her response was, go sit down. I will bring the knife. The woman, she didn't come. I was a kid during this time, and I was waiting, I'm so hungry. Maybe she forgot me. And I asked the same question, can I have the knife, please? She was like, I told you to go sit down. I will bring it after my meeting. I was like, how long the meeting is gonna take? She was like, I don't know, whatever. I was young and I started yelling, and she started yelling on me, making a really huge deal. And then I left to my room. Opened the door and I saw 2 police officers. Both of them, they hold the gun on my face. She told the cop, I said I'm gonna kill her. And I have never said that word. I start crying. Then I explained them the situation, and I think they know she was a liar. I felt I'm not treated like a human, you know? And this time I was like, man, what I'm gonna do now? Like, I do not have any family, I do not have any friends. I really don't know anybody. I feel like I gotta live in the street now, or what I gotta do. Maybe I should go back to my country. I born in beautiful family. We not rich, not poor. We live in our life is really basic. A reality, people have good life. People can sleep outside. People can go to places, shopping, and they feel unsafe. But when the war started in 2003, I was 7 years old. From heaven turned to be, to hell. When the war started, everything shut down. Schools closed their doors. No one can work. No one can go to school. I saw a lot of people die in this place. Imagine as a kid seeing this. So my dad, he went in the morning to work, and then we didn't ever saw him again until a couple months. They find his body. Didn't make me feel I'm a child anymore. My generations from Sadr City, they grow up on war and see people fighting and stuff. All these kids, they like me. They gotta work to feed their family. I start work at age 8. When I start training, I was 10 years old. In my first race, the prize to win the race, it was giving shirt away. So I think I was interested to take the shirt and I challenged for it. And then I end up to win this race with not even wearing shoes. The coach, he always tell me like, you have the talent, but you need to train it. I started training with him. There are 3 days a week I gotta go to the stadium. The coach, he always tell me like, someday you're gonna be run for a national and we will like go to different countries to run. I never left Sadr City. Go to different country? I don't know what it look like, I run in the championship and I win it, and then my coach, he was like, you part of the national team to go to Lebanon. I was 14 years old. I remember everybody thought I'm not gonna do good enough. There's no way to even be top 10. And then I run hard and I end up to be the champ. When I first entered to Lebanon, I remember I went to the beach And I have never saw beach before. And I saw people swim, people like playing. That's when I saw life. I don't know, I was feeling like I was in a dream. It's really made me question in myself if I live life. I realized that my life in Iraq, it wasn't life. When I back to Iraq, I decide to go somewhere doesn't have war. I have to think the right place to go. During this time, the Arab countries, they not accepting Iraqis. The only country they can accept in Iraqi, it was Syria. In Syria, the war started during this time. So I decide I'm not wanna leave war to go to other war. I wanna go to the safe place. Turkey is the only neighbor we have that living their life better than others. When I left to Turkey by myself, I was 15 years old. When I was living in Turkey, I was living with Turkish friends. And then I was working in the kind of marketplace in their school nearby where I live. In the lunchtime, all kids, they get out from school and they go eat. I was wishing that's me. Education is the power you can't have for whole your life. And I miss that. Without education, I will never be okay with myself. My Turkish friend, they helped me to go to the immigration place to have a paper to stay there without having a problem with the government. One of the interviews, a woman, she worked for the UN. She was from United States. They asked me if I want to come to the US, and actually, I said no. We have a war, like you guys invaded to us, and in my culture, it's hard, it's not okay to go to someone who fights you. They tell me if I go to the US, they're gonna put me in the school. And I was like, school, yes, I will go. One person who working in a group house, she make me feel almost I'm not a human. I know group house is not the place where I want to live. And during this time, I do not know anybody. I don't know where to go. And I'm not the person like to ask people to do something for me. Run has always been my peace time, my time to think, to relax, to thinking about how I can achieve things. When I come here to United States, I wasn't speaking any English, but my leg was speaking loud. Now I try out for the track and field team. I made the 7 times to state championship. Every single meet, when I go run and win it, and people just yelling on my name, and I feel like that make me more connect to people and also help me to learn fast and meet new people and talk to them. I talked to my coach what happened in the group house. He was talking to teachers in high school if anybody have a place for me to live, a room or something. Hey, Joey. Moving with Joe Vanessa is something make me feel like there's still good people in this world, because they really show me how a human being is supposed to be and how we can help in each other without even knowing who you are or where you're from or what language you speak. They treat me as a family. We eating on the same table. We share everything together. This is the real family I'm looking for, and they give me my life back. Man. When I moved with them, I was a junior in high school. And the last time I went to school back in Iraq, I was 7 years old. June 21st, I got all my credit done and I graduate. It was amazing moment. Like my family, friend, everybody was like on shock. You really did it. I applied for Central Washington University and I went there for a year and a quarter. And I applied for Seattle U. I got accepted on full ride academic scholarships. I wanna be in PhD program and show how the war affect the Iraqi population with mental behavior, economy, how this war affect people, how they have different views in life. The war damaged everybody in Iraq. Damaged me, I'm the person who's sitting here. We all survive from something alive. We have to keep dreaming. Even kids who live in their country and they don't feel like they exist. Yes, you exist. You dream bigger than anybody else. No matter where we from or where we was born at, we are human.
So thank you so much for watching the two films, Little Rebel and This Being Human, starring Aissatou and Hameed, and co-directed by Aimie Vallat. So right now we're actually preparing in a few minutes for a Q&A, which will happen on Zoom and be streamed on Facebook. So thank you so much. We will be streaming live on Facebook right now. If you want to join us in the Zoom, you would just need to log into Zoom. The URL is in the event page of the group, but it's also short url.at/adk18 with the password 743568. Please join us shortly. First of all, just welcome everyone. Welcome to Every Action Counts, Humanity on Film. Thank you so much for joining. This event is the third in a festival held by UNHCR in commemoration of World Refugee Day, which happens on June 20th all across the world. Yes.
Bueno, de hecho, antes de comenzar con las reglas, quisiera contextualizar un poco el evento, hacer una pequeña introducción al mismo. Primero que nada, bienvenidos todos a Cada Acción Cuenta, la humanidad en film. Gracias por acompañarnos. Este es el tercer evento de un festival organizado por la ACNUR, la Agencia de la ONU para los Refugiados, en conmemoración del Día Mundial de los Refugiados, que se celebra todos los años el 20 de junio.
So if you're here, it's probably because you just saw two films on Facebook. The first, Little Rebel, and the second, This Being Human. And both films dealt with just people making their way from their homelands, where they face discrimination and war, to a more certain future, a future in which they had more control over their lives. We welcome Hameed, the protagonist of This Being Human. Thank you so much, Hameed, for joining us. And Aimie Vallat, the co-director of both films that we just saw.
Bien, si están aquí, es posible que hayan visto el estreno en Trinidad y Tobago de 2 cortometrajes, Pequeña Rebelde, o Little Rebel, y This Being Human, este ser humano. Ambas películas tratan de personas que parten de sus países de origen, donde enfrentaban discriminación y guerra hacia un futuro con mayor certidumbre, en el que puedan ejercer más control sobre sus vidas. Demos entonces la bienvenida a Hameed, el protagonista de este ser humano, proveniente de Irak, y Aimie Vallat, la codirectora de ambas películas.
So back to the rules now. So before we begin, we just wanted to set some ground rules. So as I had said before, you would either be participating in the Zoom or watching on Facebook, where we're streaming simultaneously. Welcome from whatever corner of the world you might be joining us. We just want to enforce that the rule that we will have a zero tolerance policy for any kind of discriminatory language. We are anti-racism, anti-xenophobia, anti-transphobia, anti-sexism, anti-ableism. Basically, if it is that you do say something during the Q&A in the chat that that warrants us kicking you out, we will do so. So just letting you know that, just to start. Yeah.
Bien, ahora sí, las reglas. Puede, como dije antes, puede que estén viendo esto como participantes en Zoom o a través de una transmisión simultánea en Facebook. Les damos la bienvenida a todos los que nos están viendo desde cualquier rincón del mundo, pero tenemos una política de cero tolerancia con respecto a los comentarios o el lenguaje discriminatorio. En este espacio somos antirracismo, antisenofobia, antitransfobia, antisexismo, antidiscriminación en contra de las personas con discapacidad. No se toleran comentarios discriminatorios de ningún tipo, y si hacen un comentario de este tipo, se borrará el comentario y posiblemente queden eliminados del evento.
This event will just be structured in two, with just 30 minutes of a brief discussion and 30 minutes of Q&A. So questions from the audience. We would ask if you could place your questions in the chat bar on the right-hand side in text, and we will get to you. So we really just want to, after that, just to take a moment to acknowledge that at least 79.5 million people are forced to flee their homes, which means that 1% of the world's population is currently displaced. These films and this event seek to acknowledge this disturbing fact and to hold space for the people across the world who are searching for safety.
Bien, este evento está estructurado en dos partes. Programamos aproximadamente 30 minutos de discusión y aproximadamente 30 minutos para preguntas y respuestas. Dejen un comentario bajo este video en Facebook o un comentario en el cuadro de texto en Zoom si tienen preguntas para nuestros invitados. Intentaremos responderlas antes del fin de la sesión. También quisiéramos aprovechar la oportunidad de resaltar que al menos 79,5 millones de personas se han visto obligadas a huir de sus hogares. Quiere decir que el 1% de la población del mundo ha sido desplazada. Estos documentales, al igual que este evento, buscan reconocer esta perturbadora realidad, con el deseo de crear un espacio para todas aquellas personas en todo el mundo que buscan estar a salvo.
Okay, so now we go to the conversation. So Hameed, I'll just read the bios. Hameed is originally from Baghdad, Iraq, and arrived in Seattle, Washington as a refugee at age 16, which you would have seen in the film. Hameed had a distinguished high school career as an athlete running track and had earned multiple state championships for his high school in Seattle. Upon graduation, Hameed attended college and studied psychology, earning a degree from Seattle University in the spring of 2020. He was given a student award for his community service and involvement, and he also volunteered for Refugees Northwest and their youth program. Hameed will start his PhD program at the University of Illinois in fall of 2020, studying psychology with a particular focus on the effects of war on the Iraqi population. Hameed became a US citizen in the summer of 2019 and dreams one day of working on behalf of refugees like himself. So thank you so much for joining us, Hameed.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bien, comencemos con la conversación. En primer lugar, vamos a presentar brevemente a nuestros ponentes. Voy a simplemente leer la biografía de Hameed. Hameed es originario de Bagdad, Irak, y llegó a Seattle, Washington como refugiado a los 16 años, como habrán visto en el video. Hameed tuvo una distinguida carrera en la escuela secundaria y se distinguió en el atletismo. Había ganado múltiples campeonatos estatales en nombre de su escuela secundaria en Seattle. Al graduarse, Hameed asistió a la universidad y estudió psicología, obteniendo un título de la Universidad de Seattle en la primavera de 2020. Recibió un premio de estudiante por su servicio comunitario y participación, y también se ofreció como voluntario para Refugiados Northwest y su programa juvenil. Hameed comenzará su programa de doctorado en la Universidad de Illinois Champaign en el otoño de 2020. Estudiará psicología con un enfoque particular en los efectos de la guerra en la población iraquí. Hameed se convirtió en ciudadano estadounidense en el verano de 2019 y sueña algún día con trabajar en nombre de refugiados como él. Hameed, bienvenido, gracias por acompañarnos.
Okay, so now we turn to Aimie. So Aimie Vallat, a producer and director. For the past 25 years, Aimie has worked as a social change agent in the nonprofit and documentary film sectors. She has always been fascinated about how the human experience shows both uniqueness and common ground. Her interest in storytelling has taken her around the world, from the townships in South Africa to youth theatre troupe in Serbia and interviewing Holocaust survivors in Poland. Building on her bachelor's degree in visual anthropology from Fairhaven College and a master's in communication from Antioch University, she created Real Witness with Noah Dassel. Together, they developed stories about sustainability, food security, and the refugee community. They debuted their first documentary in 2015 with Present Moment, which went on to win multiple awards and was nominated for an Emmy. Little Rebel was their first collaboration with Guido Rong and screened all over the world. This Being Human was released in spring 2019. So welcome, Aimie. Thank you so much to you both for being here.
Thank you. Bien, pasamos ahora a Aimie Vallat, la directora productora de este film. Durante los últimos 25 años, Aimie ha trabajado como agente de cambio social en los sectores de cine documental y sin fines de lucro. Siempre le ha fascinado el hecho de que la experiencia humana es a la vez singular y compartida, con muchas cosas en común. Su interés por las historias y cómo comunicarlas la ha llevado por todo el mundo, desde los townships de Sudáfrica a una compañía de teatro juvenil en Serbia y hasta Polonia, para entrevistar a sobrevivientes del Holocausto. Sobre la base de su licenciatura en antropología visual de Fairhaven College y una maestría en comunicación de la Universidad de Antioch, creó Real Witness con Noah Dassel. Juntos desarrollaron historias sobre sostenibilidad, seguridad alimentaria y su comunidad de refugiados. Debutaron Present Moment, su primer documental, en el 2015. Esta primera obra recibió múltiples premios, al igual que una nominación al Emmy. Pequeña Rebelde fue su primera colaboración con Guido Rong y se proyectó en todo el mundo. Este ser humano se estrenó en la primavera de 2019. Gracias, Aimie, por acompañarnos.
Okay, so let's begin with a little bit of discussion. So Hameed, can you tell us just what the biggest challenge was that you faced right now in your country of asylum?
Comencemos con una breve discusión. Hameed, cuéntanos por favor cuál fue el mayor desafío que enfrentaste en tu país de asilo.
Thank you. The biggest challenge actually was leaving to country who do not speak your own language, and country that you never spoke their language. So that's one. And also second challenge, it was like being a person of color and living in a group house. And the group house has changed my life. It was pretty tough for a young kid to live in the house when there is people actually not like me, like people who have drug problems, people who have anger, people who have mental issues. So yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge for me.
Gracias por esta invitación. yo creo que el desafío más grande para mí fue tener que irme a un país donde no se hablaba mi idioma, donde muy poca gente hablaba mi idioma. Y en segundo lugar, el hecho de ser una persona de color y el hecho también de vivir en un hogar grupal, porque realmente ese hogar grupal me cambió la vida. Fue muy difícil para una persona joven como yo vivir en un lugar de ese estilo, con personas que tenían problemas muy distintos a los míos. Eran personas con problemas de adicción a las drogas, con problemas de cómo manejan su ira, problemas mentales, y eso me causó muchos problemas a mí.
Can I ask just what it was like to, because you left Iraq when you were quite young, when you were a child. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that experience was like, particularly since one of your first experiences moving to the US was in this group home?
Cuéntame cómo fue el haber tenido que irte de Irak tan pequeño, porque saliste siendo un niño. ¿Qué tal fue esa experiencia de irte y de vivir en un país extraño siendo simplemente un niño?
Yeah, actually, I left when I was 15 years old. But the reason is make me leave my family and my country because we lost a lot of hope. Like the city where I was growing up, it was all violence. Seeing people every day die, and also I felt like there is no choice, or you giving up on your life and stay there and you know like anybody else, just waiting when you're gonna be die, or like I could leave and might be I'm gonna start new journey somewhere else. So it was tough decision, but I decided to do it, and also come to the United States. It was one of the toughest decision because this actually United States, the country who broke my country, like who like damaged everything in my homeland. But what I seen is like when there is opportunity, I have to go and take it. So
Thank you so much.
Bien, sí, yo me fui a los 15 años y el hecho de haber dejado a mi hogar, a mi familia, a mi país, fue muy difícil y realmente fue un tema de pérdida total de la experiencia, de si me quedaba sería resignarme a la violencia que estábamos viviendo ya uno vio a mucha gente morir, entonces era escoger entre resignarse a perder la esperanza a que la vida fuese así, esperar morir, o irse y quizás comenzar con una nueva vida en otro lugar. Fue para mí muy difícil, pero a fin de cuentas tuve que hacerlo, y quizás el hecho también de ir a los Estados Unidos fue muy difícil, porque para nosotros está la idea de que el país que nos rompió a nosotros como país, los Estados Unidos, que nos rompió a nosotros como país, es el lugar donde iba a irme, pero a fin de cuentas lo vi como una oportunidad que tenía que aprovechar.
Can I ask just a question about what advice you would give, just given these circumstances, to others who are in a similar situation, who have to move to a new place where they have to transition to a new culture with new norms, a new way of life? What have you learned most from that experience?
Si me permites preguntarte, por favor, ¿qué consejo le darías en vista de estas circunstancias a otras personas que tienen que hacer esa transición a otro país, a otro lugar, con nuevas normas, con nuevas costumbres, un entorno completamente distinto?
Invite to people like me or any refugees or immigrant who travel to new country. First of all, when they put their first feet on this land, they have to realize this is a new culture, new people, a new language, and they have to understand it. they have to adopt other people like culture or believe, like not necessarily believe or culture, but they have to feel they part of it. Because if you decide to stay who you are and stay, you know, the same mentality where you come from, I think it's be very hard to succeed. And also like to be in a new place, you always have to like think big, like not only I come to this country and there's a lot of things, or like for example United States, basically everything in here, but you also have to think about how I can be a better person, to educate myself, to go to school. If I can deal with the school, like let me do jobs, let me be make something, you know, can secure my life, my family. And especially for young kids, like if you have the opportunity to attend the school, this is the key for life to be succeed.
Bien, mi consejo a personas como yo, ya sean refugiados, inmigrantes, que tienen que ir a un lugar nuevo, a un país nuevo, sería que desde el momento que lleguen a esa nueva tierra, que busquen adaptarse, porque claro, es un nuevo idioma, una nueva cultura, un nuevo entorno completamente, pero es indispensable adaptarse, llegar a sentirse parte de ese nuevo entorno, porque si no, es muy difícil tener éxito, muy, muy difícil. Hay que también pensar en grande. Por ejemplo, viniendo de los Estados Unidos, en los Estados Unidos está todo lo que uno necesita, pero es necesario ir un poco más allá, pensar un poco más allá, ver cómo mejorarse como persona, estudiar, formarse, ver las oportunidades de trabajo que existen. A mí me parece que la educación lleva a oportunidades de trabajo que nos permite darle un futuro seguro a nuestra familia, asegurar nuestro futuro. Entonces, sobre todo para los niños y para los jóvenes, aprovechen la oportunidad de estudiar, de formarse, porque esa es verdaderamente la clave del éxito.
Thank you so much, Hameed. So we actually have a few questions. Thank you. Please continue to add questions to the chat box. So we'll turn to Aimie just a little bit. And then after that, we will just take some of the questions from the audience. So Aimie, so to kind of bridge a little bit between what Hameed just said and what we're about to ask you, how did you find out about his story? How did you find out about this?
Bien.
Well, sorry.
Bien, gracias Hameed y gracias a todos por las preguntas que nos han enviado. Ya hemos recibido algunas, síganlas enviando. Primero, antes de pasar las preguntas de la audiencia, vamos a pasar a Aimie a hacer unas preguntas. Y Aimie, para hacer la transición de las preguntas que le hemos hecho a Hameed a lo que tú nos puedes contar sobre esas historias, ¿cómo fue que descubriste las historias de Hameed e Isatu?
Thank you. So I have been working with nonprofits doing video work and foundations for the last 10 years. And so I knew about Refugees Northwest because I had done some other video work for them. And they recommended both Isatu and Hameed as pretty exceptional people who had come here and were willing to share their story and their experience as being a refugee and an asylum seeker. So Refugees Northwest is an incredible Seattle-based organization that helps refugees with resettlement.
Bien. Yo he estado trabajando con organizaciones sin fines de lucro y haciendo trabajo de video en este espacio desde hace más de 10 años y había trabajado un poco realizando videos con Refugees Northwest. Le había hecho unos videos a ellos y fueron ellos los que me recomendaron a Hameed y a Isatou como personas excepcionales cuyas historias realmente valía la pena compartir. Y Refugees Northwest es una organización maravillosa que ya tiene mucho tiempo trabajando con el tema del reasentamiento de refugiados y solicitantes de asilo en los Estados Unidos.
And this question is for both of you, really. It's just about why film is a choice and what impact you think film can have. And in that two-part question, Hameed, just why did you decide to do this? Why did you think your voice needed to be heard?
Una pregunta quizás para ambos. ¿Por qué escogieron las películas como medio y qué impacto creen ustedes que puedan tener las películas en este sentido? Para ti, Hameed, por ejemplo, ¿por qué decidiste ser parte de esta iniciativa?
I should go first.
Sure, please do.
Okay. You know, as usual, it's pretty hard for someone to share their own story with people. And the reason is make me, you know, share my story because in 2016, where the lecture for the United States, like for the president, I start here, you know, a lot of fake about immigrant refugees and people who come here. And I'm one of these people. And a lot of people look at us like as, at least here in the United States, look at us like as someone who want to steal job. Like if you are Muslim, you're a terrorist. If you like Latino drug dealer, if you like, all this is not true. So I think the reason is make me step up because I felt like this wrong information for others. And I, you know, I decide to do it to prove other people wrong. We not like that. We come here not only for, you know, stealing job or do anything. We come here to make the country better. You know, we come here to, you know, to support and bring all we have to this country: hard work, cultures, everything, food, kindness. So yes, and I, you know, I felt that if we don't stand up, all right is going to be taken by people who never experienced what we have been dealing with, and especially as a person from Iraq. Like if the invasion never happened to Iraq, I would never even travel to the country next my country, because home is always like everything for anyone.
Yo primero, sí, adelante. Bien, dice Hameed. Siempre es difícil compartir nuestra historia con otros. Para mí fue muy difícil compartir mi historia. Pero la compartí porque en el 2016, durante la campaña electoral para las elecciones de ese año, hubo mucha información falsa que se difundió sobre los inmigrantes y los refugiados. Estaba la idea de que los inmigrantes venían a robarse todos los empleos, que los musulmanes eran todos terroristas, que los latinoamericanos eran todos traficantes, y a mí me pareció importante hacer veras, dejar en evidencia que esa gente no tiene razón, que están muy equivocados, que nosotros no estamos aquí para robarnos ningún trabajo, estamos aquí para mejorar el país, para apoyarlo, para aportar todo lo que tenemos de nosotros mismos, para trabajar duro, aportar nuestra cultura, nuestra gentileza, también nuestra gastronomía. Y a mí me pareció que si no había alguien que diera esa imagen, que demostrara lo contrario a los estereotipos, que íbamos a perder todos nuestros derechos. El hecho es que si a mi país no lo hubiesen invadido, yo nunca me hubiese ido de mi casa, porque para mí mi hogar es todo.
Hameed answered that so beautifully, and I would just add that Guido and I decided to make these films because the first Muslim travel ban happened in January 2017. Guido's also an immigrant to the United States, and we were so angry by this and so appalled that something like this could happen in this country. And we immediately decided to take that anger and frustration into action. And we wanted to share the stories of people like Aissatou and Hameed to remind people that we need and want refugees and asylum seekers and immigrants in our country. They make us a better place. And so Hameed and Aissatou are one of many. And I think it's clear that their stories not only inspire us, but they also remind us of really the best of humanity.
I felt pretty, and I can definitely speak not only for myself, but for all of our staff who watched both films, we were definitely inspired by your stories. And after Danielle is finished, I do want to ask you a little bit more just about personal transformation.
Hameed respondió a esa pregunta de una manera tan hermosa. Creo que Guido y yo decidimos hacer estas películas porque en el 2016 entró en vigor la prohibición de entrada a los Estados Unidos a los musulmanes. Y eso nos causó tanta ira y tanta frustración que eso pudiese pasar en este país, que decidimos transformar esa ira y esa frustración en acción. Decidimos contar las historias de personas como Aissatou y de Hameed, porque realmente nos permite resaltar lo importante que es la experiencia inmigrante de los refugiados para nuestro país. Necesitamos a los inmigrantes y los refugiados porque ellos nos ayudan a mejorar, hacen que este sea un lugar mejor. Y estas son simplemente dos historias entre muchas. Estas son personas que nos inspiran y que nos recuerdan la mejor parte de lo que es ser humano. Bien, muchas gracias. Realmente debo decir que nosotros, el personal de ACNUR, nos sentimos súper inspirados por su historia y por todo el esfuerzo personal que le pusieron a la iniciativa. Antes de continuar, más adelante, luego que Daniela termine su traducción, te voy a hacer unas cuantas preguntas sobre transformación personal.
Mm-hmm. So I will do just that. I just want to know, can you just share with us how participating in this project changed both of you personally? So Hameed, perhaps you can start first.
Quería saber cómo el participar en este proyecto los cambió a nivel personal. Hameed, tú primero, por favor.
Actually, it's had changed a lot because before I was doing it, I was mad and I was, really sad to see like some American people like believe that immigrant refugees like coming out here to do something bad. But after sharing my story with other people and seeing people bringing their kids and want them to know about like people like me, stories, is make me feel like, no, there is a lot of good people in this country. And yes, it also helped me to, to know a lot of people, to connect with people, and also like helped me to also like benefit the same program where I come from, like the program who take care of me, the Lutheran Community Service, when I first helped me to, to help them to have connection, to have people to donate, to have people to come and ask like they want to adopt kids, like they want to be a foster parents. So I feel like to me, this is pretty important.
Bien, de hecho, para mí fue muy importante porque antes de haber compartido mi historia, yo llevaba mucha ira, estaba muy triste de ver que mucha gente de los Estados Unidos veían a los inmigrantes y a los refugiados como personas que venían a hacer algo malo. Pero luego de haber compartido mi historia, vi a mucha gente que traía a sus niños a compartir con nosotros y aprender sobre personas como yo y nuestras historias. Y eso me hizo darme cuenta que sí hay gente buena. Me ayudó también a conectarme con esa gente buena y a crear vínculos. El servicio comunitario luterano, que me ayudó a mí mucho, muchas personas se nos acercaron diciendo que querían adoptar niños, acoger a niños en sus hogares y prestar apoyo. Fue una experiencia muy linda.
Well, I'm so honored to have these two people as my friends in my life now. I've learned so much from both of them. And I have watched how Hameed and Aissatou, at all these film screenings we've done all over the world, how they're really changing people's perspective about the refugee experience. And to me, that is so powerful to see how these two individual stories can create such inspiration, but also really educate people about what it's like to leave everything behind and have the courage and resilience that these two exhibit over and over again. And they continue to inspire me every day. I mean, Hameed is going off to his PhD. I'm so incredibly proud of who they are. And I think film is such a wonderful tool to show people a very large issue like refugees through a very personal story. So I'm just, there's so much that I think we all take away from their stories, and I'm excited to hear what other people have seen and been moved by.
I think that's a good place okay, so just before Daniela starts to say that we'll just transition to some of the questions so that we can actually see how others have responded. But I'll leave it to you, Daniela.
Bien. He tenido el honor, el gran honor de ahora contar con estas dos personas como amigos que son parte de mi vida. He aprendido muchísimo de ellos, sobre todo el ver cómo Hameed e Aissatou, en todos los lugares del mundo donde se ha proyectado la película, a nivel mundial, han cambiado la perspectiva de gente en todo momento y en todos los lugares. Sobre todo con respecto a la experiencia del refugiado. Ha sido maravilloso ver cómo estas dos historias han impactado la visión de tantas personas sobre lo que es el tener que dejar todo atrás y la resiliencia, la valentía que demuestran estas personas. Ellos me inspiran a mí enormemente día a día. Hameed va ahora a cursar su doctorado. Estoy tan orgullosa de él. A mí me parece que las películas son una manera de mostrarle a las personas un tema que es enorme, pero como es el tema de los refugiados, pero a través de una historia muy personal. Entonces, para mí es excelente poder ver cómo inspiran estas historias a las personas y qué mensajes se lleva cada uno. Así que estoy muy entusiasmada de ver de qué manera han quedado conmovidas las personas que están presentes aquí con nosotros luego de haber visto los filmes.
So at this point, we'll just start taking some of the questions that we received in the chat box. So our first question is just what motivated you, Hameed, to do this movie, which I think we spoke a little bit about in terms of your voice, but so perhaps we'll move on to another question, just for the sake of time. So Christian is asking, were you able to bring your family to the US or are they still in Iraq?
Our family is still in Iraq. They don't want to come to the US. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Bien, vamos a comenzar con las preguntas del chat. Y la primera pregunta era: ¿qué te motivó a hacer esta película? Pero es una pregunta a la cual ya Hameed ha respondido. Así que vamos a ir a otra pregunta. Esta es de Christian. Hameed, ¿has podido traer a tu familia a los Estados Unidos? Y la respuesta de Hameed que comenzó a dar fue que no han querido ir a los Estados Unidos.
So we have just a question about what surprised from Layla Jane. What surprised Hameed about Zil? And have you been able to connect with other Iraqis in your town?
Otra pregunta de Leo Jane. ¿Qué te sorprendió de Seattle? ¿Y has ido contactarte con otras personas de Irak o de Bagdad allí?
Well, honestly, everything surprised me when I come to Seattle. I think like the nature is all green, and also the culture and people out here. And did I found any Iraqi communities? Yeah, I have a lot of Iraqi friends. I met them here. I met them here in Washington. So yes, I do.
Todo me sorprendió cuando llegué a Seattle. Desde la naturaleza que está por doquier, todo verde, hasta la gente, la cultura. Y con respecto al haber encontrado una comunidad iraquí aquí, sí, efectivamente, tengo muchos amigos iraquíes con quienes he contactado acá.
And we have a really good question here from Andrew. For Hameed, how much of yourself do you still identify with as an Iraqi, seeing that because you left at such a young age?
Una pregunta muy buena de parte de Andrew. Hameed, ¿hasta qué punto te identificas ya que te fuiste bastante joven, bastante pequeño?
I kind of didn't get the question right. If you can repeat it again, please.
Sure. I guess the question is really just asking about since you've been in the US for a while, how much of yourself do you identify as an Iraqi, and how much do you identify as someone who's become an American citizen?
I'm 110 Iraqi. Yeah, 110 Iraqi. I mean, I appreciate everything, for United States, for American family, for friends, for everyone I know here. But definitely I identify myself first as a human being, and second, I am Iraqi, 100%. But I also, identify myself Iraqi American. So
I haven't heard you say that before.
And I'm just going to backtrack a bit. Hameed respondió que no había entendido bien la pregunta, así que se repitió la pregunta, y es que ya que él ha estado en los Estados Unidos desde hace algún tiempo, ¿hasta qué punto te identificas tú, Hameed, como iraquí versus identificarte como ciudadano estadounidense? Y la respuesta de Hameed es: yo soy 110% iraquí. Aprecio todo de los Estados Unidos, de mi familia americana, de mis amigos. Aprecio mucho todo lo que he encontrado aquí. Pero primeramente me identifico como ser humano, segundo como iraquí y luego como ciudadano estadounidense. Y quizás también como americano. Y Aimie comenta que es la primera vez que lo ha escuchado decirlo.
I have just so we have some more time to take some more questions. If anybody would like to, please just place it in the chat. I for one am curious, Hameed, because I mean, you expressed this in the film as well, but that you really, really wanted to place emphasis and even study the psychological experience of displacement and what that means. Can you explain just a little bit about that, about maybe what your proposal for your PhD program is, or just some more information about why that particular?
Yeah, of course. So I choose this major because, and specifically like the area being specialized on trauma and people who've been affected from war zone. So before I got to the state, I wasn't really know, like I can't see from white to black, like I see everything is like kind of similar, and especially being in the growing up time of war is definitely has a lot of impact on myself, on my belief, on my on how I see things. So we know like most humans, when they find like something passionate about, and I felt this my what I was born for, like I went through this process as being child who been affected and seeing all these traumas. So when I got the chance and I studied and I was like doing well in the school, I saw myself I might be a very good resource for immigrant refugees who been affected from this lifestyle. And also like a lot of psychologists, a lot of therapists who actually they therapists, but the thing is like they never went through the process of those people who experience like this. So what they do is they study it, but experienced it. So in my case, I feel like I can be very easy for them, because I went through this. And actually the most reason I've been doing it because I want to help my people. I want to help people like me, and I want to show the world how this wars, how this dehumanize wars being affected other people. So through my research, through my interview, practicing it.
Bien, tenemos tiempo para más preguntas, así que si tienen alguna pregunta adicional, por favor ingrésenlas en el chat. Y a mí, mientras tanto, te hago una pregunta. Yo quedé con curiosidad. Lo dijiste en el film, pero quería preguntarte, este deseo de estudiar la psicología detrás de la experiencia del ser, quería que me hablaras un poco sobre tus reflexiones al respecto. Quizás cuéntanos un poco sobre tu propuesta ante el programado, cualquier información sobre por qué específicamente eso. La respuesta de Hameed: yo escogí esa especialidad sobre el trauma, las experiencias vividas en una zona de guerra, que antes de venir a los Estados Unidos yo veía todo como muy en blanco y negro, muy escuetamente, especialmente al haber crecido durante un momento de una guerra cruenta. Eso me impactó mucho, impactó mis creencias, mi forma de ver las cosas. Y es por eso, pienso yo, que estoy aquí porque al haber pasado por todo ese proceso, vivencias, y al haber tenido las oportunidades que he tenido de desempeñarme bien en los estudios, yo pienso que puedo convertirme en un buen soporte para las vistas afectadas por este tipo de situaciones. Yo he visto muchos terapeutas, muchos psicólogos, psiquiatras, están bien formados, pero nunca han pasado por algo así. Han estudiado las situaciones y el impacto emocional y psicológico que tienen, pero no han vivido en carne propia. Yo sí lo viví. Y hace poco, lo más reciente, al estar trabajando con este tema, yo sé que puedo ayudar a las personas como yo a manejar el hecho de las situaciones de guerra, la deshumanización que le ocurre a uno cuando pasa por estas situaciones. Y quiero hacerlo, realmente quiero hacerlo mediante mis investigaciones y mediante mi práctica.
So we have 3 more questions from the audience. The first is just for Aimie, actually. Do you have any other upcoming projects, refugees? I mean, you've directed or co-directed 2 shorts so far. Do you think you will end here? Or is it just...
Tenemos 3 preguntas más de la audiencia. La primera es para Aimie y te quería preguntar si tienes algún proyecto que esté así en vías de desarrollo sobre los refugiados. ¿Ya tienes esta experiencia con estos 2 proyectos? ¿Ya has hecho otros videos en ese espacio? ¿Qué otras cosas tienes planeado?
Well, I think I'm moving into some other work, but I will say that finding Hameed's story was much more difficult. United States, and I think around the world, refugees are experiencing a lot more discrimination. I think in this country, there is a lot of fear in our refugee community. And we found people didn't feel very safe to tell their story. And we have to respect that whoever came forward was really the right person, and that was Hameed. But it was quite difficult to find that story. It took over a year. And about 10 people, we thought before that, all did not end up committing because. So I think we have to see what happens in the fall. I also have a lot of other interests as a storytellers, and I'm kind of waiting to see what sort of happens. We're living in a pandemic quite dramatically. We can't really go film anywhere right now. But I'm really excited to continue to share films. They are free. Anyone can use them in any of their work around refugees. So I do want to say that. These are gifted to anybody.
Sorry, Aimie, could you repeat that last part? I didn't hear it.
These films are free and gifted to anyone to use that are working with refugees.
Okay. Bien, pues sí voy a comenzar con otros proyectos, pero debo decir que hallar la historia de Hameed fue sumamente difícil. A nivel mundial, Unidos, los refugiados viven muchísima discriminación. En este país hay mucho miedo y mucha incertidumbre en las de refugiados y muchos temen. Y eso es algo que tenemos que respetar y confiar en que quienes se ofrezcan como voluntarios para contar sus historias son las personas adecuadas. El hecho de haber encontrado a Hameed fue algo que mucho tiempo, más de un año, y hubo otras personas que habían pensado en contar sus historias, pero a fin de cuentas no lo hicieron porque temían hacerlo. Entonces, ver qué ocurre de aquí al otoño. También debo decir que tengo otros intereses como cineasta de contar otros tipos de historias y las cosas están cambiando mucho en este momento. Estamos en medio de una pandemia que está cambiando todo, así que hay que ver cómo evoluciona la situación. De todas maneras, estas 2 películas, estos 2 cortos están disponibles libremente para el uso de quien quiera utilizarlos dentro del espacio de su trabajo con los refugiados y con los inmigrantes. Oops, have we lost Amanda?
Amanda? Oh yeah, we did. let's see. Ella, do you want to look in the questions? What about the one for Hameed from Layla Jane about not speaking English? Any comment on the importance of language to integration and acceptance?
Ok, Hameed, hiciste algunos comentarios sobre el hecho de no hablar inglés cuando llegaste a los Estados Unidos. ¿Puedes contarnos sobre la importancia del idioma al proceso de integrarte y que te acepten?
So the question for Hameed is, when he first arrived, he wasn't speaking English, and can he comment on the importance of language and his integration and acceptance into the United States?
Honestly, like being not speaking the language, you're kind of blind, you know, like, you know, you're just watching, but blind in a way you do not know what to do. Like, it was pretty tough, pretty hard, like to be in a, you know, in a new language you never spoke before. I remember, I only know 2 words, yes and no, and when people like yes, where do you come from? I'd be like no, yes. So it was pretty tough, but yeah. And I was struggling for a couple months, and then I just pushed myself. Like I was like, this is the only choice to, you know, to be communicate with others and start my life to learn their language. So
Sinceramente, no hablar el idioma quiere decir que estás como ciego, estás como viendo cómo se desarrollan las situaciones en tu entorno sin saber qué hacer ni cómo responder. Muy difícil vivir en un sitio donde se hablaba un idioma que yo no conocía. Al principio solamente sabía 2 palabras, sí y no, y me saludaban, yo decía sí, y me preguntaban de dónde responder, pues no. Se me hizo muy difícil durante muchos meses, pasé mucho trabajo, hasta que eventualmente me di cuenta que simplemente tenía que exigirme a mí mismo poder avanzar, porque era la única manera de poder rehacer mi vida, comenzar una vida en este nuevo lugar.
Okay, so I unfortunately just dipped out for a sec. Maybe an internet problem, but I'm back. So I just caught the end of that. But we are almost at the end of our screening. Well, rather our Q&A. Unfortunately, I can no longer see the chat questions. But there was one question that was quite interesting. I'm not sure if it was answered, but it was a question about the gendered experience of ISO2, or just the gendered experience of displacement through the lens of ISO2's story. Can I ask? Right.
Ma'am, I can read the question, yeah, if you'd like.
I actually I have it. Thank you for thank you for our team for being so efficient. The question was, what did ISO2's story teach you about the gendered experience of displacement?
Okay. Bien, Amanda nos acompaña nuevamente. Dice que mi conexión se interrumpió durante un momento. Ya ahora estamos casi al final de la sesión de preguntas, pero sí tenemos tiempo para al menos una. Lamentablemente no vi todas las preguntas, pero sí recuerdo una que me pareció muy interesante sobre la perspectiva de género. Y la pregunta era, para Aimie, ¿qué te enseñó la experiencia de eso? ¿Tu género afecta la experiencia del refugiado?
So I think you saw, for those that saw in the film, that ISO2 did become homeless when after she arrived, and did end up in a women's shelter, which is quite lucky for her. And I think she has been able to get out of that situation and has a stable home now. I do want to say that what I've learned in my work, the issues, is that women often much more vulnerable position and facing more gendered violence against them if they're coming as asylum seekers or as refugees in refugee camps, in usually a very long journey to get to their host country. And I think we need to think about the risks that women are in overall in that experience and the protection that they also really need. I think ISA 2 was lucky. Many women that have gone through very difficult and horrific things in their journey to not only leave their home, but in that process along the way, which UNHCR knows a lot about in their work.
Yeah, we have some members of staff listening right now who I'm sure can most certainly relate to the things that you are not saying.
I'm trying to be very sensitive to who the viewers might be. I'm not really sure everyone is in the ages. So I'm just trying to be a little more discreet.
Of course.
Bien, para aquellos que ya han visto el corto, ya saben que Aissatou estuvo sin hogar durante un tiempo y terminó en un asilo para mujeres, lo que a mí me parece que fue muy positivo para ella. Tuvo mucha suerte el poder recibirlo. Eventualmente ella pudo salirse de esa situación y logró mudarse a un hogar estable. Pero lo que yo he aprendido en mi trabajo en este sentido es que las mujeres a menudo están en situaciones de muchísima vulnerabilidad. Viven situaciones de violencia basada en el género, en campos de refugiados, durante todo el proceso de salida de sus países de origen y todos los lugares que transitan hasta al llegar al país donde buscan asentarse. Y me parece importante que todos pensemos en el riesgo en que se encuentran estas mujeres y el tipo de protección que necesitan. Yo creo que Aissatou tuvo mucha suerte en muchos sentidos porque hay muchísimas mujeres que en situaciones muy difíciles, situaciones verdaderamente horribles en su camino y durante todo el proceso de irse a su casa hasta todo el proceso y todo lo que eso conlleva. Creo que ACNUR y quienes trabajan con ACNUR tienen eso muy consciente. Y Amanda hace el comentario que sí, aquí nosotros hay personal de ACNUR que trabaja metido y hay que ser sensibles al respecto, hasta lo cual Aimie comenta que sí, justamente he intentado ser bastante discreta, bastante delicada al describir todo en vista de que no sé las edades, no sé quién está presente, así que bueno, por eso la discreción al respecto.
To close, I'd just like to ask one more question. It's our first question in Spanish. ¿Te gustaría algún día regresar a Iraq? So would you like to, at some point, one day, return to Iraq, Hameed?
Yeah, I'm hoping after getting my doctorate and hopefully, you know, getting my license as that, I'm hoping to work with people who being affected from trauma around the world, and especially in Iraq. We still have a couple of refugee camps in Iraq, so hopefully I can go down there and work.
Sí, tendría la esperanza luego de finalizar mi doctorado y luego de darme la licencia como psicólogo, como terapeuta, sí quisiera trabajar con personas que se han visto afectadas por trauma a nivel mundial y también en Irak. En Irak todavía hay campos de refugiados, así que sí, tendría esa esperanza de ir a apoyar en ese sentido.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for just engaging in this Zoom, which is really the format of the time. Thank you for giving of your time and what must be, what is for everyone just kind of a strange, sort of transitional time in the world. We just want to thank everyone. Thank you for the United Nations Information Center for hosting, Daniela for translating, and thank you to all of our listeners, to everyone who contributed questions, to everyone who's listening on Facebook. Thank you for standing with and by and for refugees. So we have one last event, which is on the 26th. That event will be on facebook.com/CaribbeanUN. And it will be where we actually, during quarantine, held conversations between rest seekers as well as Trinidadians who all shared one thing in common, whether it was they were both young mothers or they were nurses, so on the front lines, or teachers who had managed to somehow adapt during COVID. So this is called Every Action Counts, the conversation, and it will be on the 26th at 6 p.m. So thank you so much again for everyone for coming. And we really, really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, and happy Refugee Day.
Thank you for having us.
Bien, gracias a todos por ser parte de este evento, por este Zoom, que es parte del formato de nuestra época. Estamos todos en un momento transicional para todo el mundo, así que muchísimas gracias por participar. Muchas gracias a UNIC y al personal de ACNUR por su apoyo como anfitriones y organizadores de esto. Gracias a Daniela por su traducción. Gracias a todos los que hicieron preguntas por el chat. Gracias a todos los que nos acompañaron por Facebook. Gracias por apoyar a los refugiados. Y no se les olvide que queda un último evento que ocurrirá este 26 de junio. Se llama Toda Acción Cuenta, las conversaciones, en facebook.com/CaribbeanUN. A partir de las 6 de la tarde, hora del Atlántico, y se trata de un diálogo durante la cuarentena entre personas de Trinidad y Tobago y refugiados o solicitantes de asilo que tienen algo en común, que tienen una cosa en común, ya sean que son madres o que tienen la misma profesión, diálogos entre personas de partes muy distintas del mundo, con experiencias muy distintas, pero que comparten al menos un elemento de su vida. Así que muchas gracias.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. We're signing off.